Welcome to Tough Talk. Join the conversation with Kiwi men as they tell their stories and talk about what they do for me time, what it takes to be tough on the inside, and how to be a good mate. Kia ora Matt, kia ora Wendy.
Kia ora.
G'day.
Thanks so much for coming out, Matt, to talk about your experience, and Wendy to talk about your shared experience of being Matt's partner through that.
Pleasure.
So I was wondering, Matt, if you could start us off by talking a little bit about your journey.
Yeah, where to start? Typical Kiwi kid and teenager, not particularly good at school, loved the outdoors and sports, travelled, and then in my mid-20s sort of fulfilled the passion of going to university and pursued, I was a builder and landscaper, but in my mid-20s pursued an academic career as a biologist. 20s were cruising along fine, life was golden, bulletproof, and my 30s things started to get a little bit harder. I wasn't, I started not to sleep well, started to feel tired, had moods. Life is tougher when you have, as you get older, you get more responsibilities. We bought our first house, had kids, juggling
things.
a lot of stuff on. The pressures of life add up, and it actually took a couple of factors. It was around a time when we moved house a couple of times in 6 months. I had employment uncertainty, and the final straw for me really was I snapped my cruciate ligament in my knee playing touch.
Oh wow!
Rugby, yeah.
That's really physical.
It was
Now as well.
Yeah, well, I'm a physical guy, and so I guess in hindsight, physicality was a release for me. And that really kind of pushed me over the edge. I didn't realise at the time, but yeah, I guess there was a point where I had a sort of a physical and mental breakdown, sort of crawl into the cupboard, weeping uncontrollably and not knowing why. Yeah, so my journey of the past 4 years has been finding my way, I won't say back from that, but just finding my way forward in life. It's changed my life, and in many ways for the better.
I really heard also, they had that outlet, that physical outlet, which I suppose a lot of men have. And then when that stopped too, all of a sudden, all those pressures just came to the surface.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Physicality for me is definitely, I've really realised was something incredibly important in my life as a stabiliser. I was a guy who's into sports. I was very good at sports. I played representative rugby. I'm a keen surfer. I was always very good at athletics. So that sort of physicality for me was a very important release. And when that was denied to me by a severe injury, that was kind of like a tipping point for me at a time in my life when a lot of other pressures were sort of all coming together.
I think one of the hard things though was that your body was telling you enough.
Yeah.
And so, your knee was broken, but also your whole nervous system shut down.
Yeah.
So you didn't have any energy, you didn't want to get up mentally and physically. You didn't feel like you could either.
Yeah, I was physically and mentally exhausted.
So you're trying to use that physicality as an outlet, but it was just running out.
Yeah. I mean, it was burnout. I've been told it was adrenal burnout, but I was dizzy. I couldn't. I stayed in bed for 2 weeks. Whenever I stood up, I was dizzy, lightheaded. So it was a pretty major sort of physical. People talk about a breakdown. It was literally a breakdown. I was like, oh my God, this has happened to me.
Yeah,
couldn't believe it.
It's going to happen to us.
Yeah, I thought I was bulletproof, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it wasn't. Yeah.
So Wendy, I'm keen to hear a little bit about your experience of Matt's breakdown, being his partner and someone who's supporting him, and also trying to take care of all the things that you do as well.
Yeah.
What was that like?
It was really tough, actually. I think I had made a decision when we had kids for Matt to be my rock, and it was quite hard for me because I'm a very strong person, very independent, and to realise that that rock at the time was weak was challenging. So I was struggling for a while to be attracted to him. I'd come home from a hard day at work, and he's still in bed. I'm like, what? I couldn't understand.
Yeah.
I didn't have any basis from which to have empathy for him, which was exactly what he needed from me.
Yes.
So I've learnt to love him even more for the person he is with all the weakness, and realise in actual fact that's what I need. I don't need the strength, I have that. I want everything that he is, including the shade and the light. So, but it took, I don't know, a year and a half of us struggling and communicating where we could, and screaming where we needed to find that right love again. And we're stronger for it. But it was tough, and we didn't want the kids to know. So at the time we were desperately trying to
hold it all together.
But you've done a lot in terms of...
Yeah, look, I know obviously this is a little about mindfulness, and I've explored, if you'd asked me 5 years ago about meditation, I would have just laughed at you. But I meditate daily. Absolutely has changed my life.
Yes.
Like, guys out there who are struggling with just finding that peace. And so how I see it is, I used to find that peace in sport and physical activity, and I still do. But I also find it in stillness now through the mindfulness-based meditation, which is funny. Life can change, and it's incredibly powerful for me. A lot of guys, and probably a lot of women too, at our stage in life, sometimes you just, some guys might relate to it, you're just screaming out for some stillness. When you come home and you've had a busy day and the kids are screaming and there's commitments from left, right and centre, and you just want that little bit of just peace, just to be yourself, and so there's ways you can find that through physical activity or through meditation, yoga, just breathing.
So I'm interested, Wendy, from your perspective, it sounded like you had to make some changes, almost to quite deep changes, and I heard you talking about finding your own strength, and that really helping. I was wondering if you could speak to your journey with finding that.
I realised I didn't need a man to protect me. I didn't need that in a partner for life. What I needed was someone interesting and challenging and sometimes annoying. And none of that's about male bravado and masculinity. That's just a personality type. And it's just taken years, and I'm sure many, many more, of being open to listening to Matt, listening to others and myself.
And also seek wisdom through others, almost like they're a reflection of ourselves.
True. Yeah, either the one you want to be or the one you don't.
Yes.
It's funny, but often, particularly when you're younger, you don't do that. You don't listen, and it can take those moments of those real tough moments to actually wake you up to listening to a different way of doing things, or to learn something new. Well, I've found in my experience.
So I'm wondering, all this stress comes that leads to these challenging experiences, breakdowns, this pressure on relationships. Where do you think it comes from?
Yep, I'm very, very hard on myself, and it's something that I still battle with. This is not this is something I probably will have for my life, but that I'm working with. My reactions to things, and anxiety. My anxiety is much recovered. I'm an anxious person, and I have been an anxious person my whole life, and I'll always have to deal with it. But it's about managing that and being realistic. It's funny. people who don't know me well look at me and they just think that I'm just laid back kind of surfer type. But you know, people have got layers. It's funny, the more you deal with the stuff, as you know, in your profession, people have got layers, man, and you can look at people that look like they got their shit together, but they're dealing with some horrible, horrendous shit. You know, people can cover this stuff up. So you never really know what sort of stuff people are dealing with.
No, it's so true. Yeah.
And a lot of us, you know, we're all dealing with stuff. Been very lucky going through this to have some really close male friends who, you know, they're, although they're pretty, you know, macho fellas, they're also wear their hearts on their sleeves. So they were kind of, when you know, or particularly Wendy was able to tell them what was going on, because I probably wasn't that good. You know, they were at least able to put an arm around my shoulder and say, "Hey, mate, we're here if we need you." But certainly, it's been, I've completely changed as a person in the fact that, you know, I wanted to talk with you about this stuff because I can see how important it is.
Any kind of advice for taking that first step, the change?
Find a friend that you really connect with, that you know really actually cares about you and your family, and just try opening up little by little, and try to on for size. If you've got a mate who you think is maybe going through tough times, well, a start is to say, "Bro, what's happening, man? I'm here for you." You know, it's just start with the little things. Easy, sometimes easier said than done, but yeah, it's can really be pretty amazing when you can connect with your mates or your brother or your father meaningfully like that.
I think that's really awesome advice. So,
yeah.
Thanks so much, Matt, for speaking today, and Wendy too. It's been been really open, really insightful as well. I've learnt things today that I hadn't learnt before. So thank you so much.
No worries.
Thanks. Good luck.
Good luck on the road trip.
Yeah. Great idea.
Oh, cheers.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, I'm sure it'll make a difference in people's lives, man.
Please, check my eyes.
Kia ora. If you like what you see, follow us on Facebook or Instagram. Subscribe on YouTube or go to our website to sign up for email updates from me. Keep liking and sharing our videos to grow the movement. Peace.
As I wipe the slate clean.